Good morning everyone. Today we are going to discuss about structure of a C program. As we know, C program is a structure oriented language. See, here we have a structure of a C program which contains a documentation section, link section, definition section, global declaration section, main section and all these things. See, without following this structure, we cannot write a C program in a good manner. See, coming to the first section of a structure of a C program is a documentation section. What this documentation section represents? Documentation section will represent the data regarding the program what you are going to write. It may be the name of a program or the person who is going to write, everything which represents about the program. See here, a documentation section does not include in the C program execution process. Why? Because it is just a document which represents the name of your program or so and so. Like a name, a person belongs to which department, like that some data regarding the program, who wrote that. See, let us see that about the documentation section. The main point that here is a documentation section does not include in the execution process of a C program. How it is not going to include? See, we have some methods how to write a C program, how to follow the syntactical rules. Let us see that. Coming to this documentation section. Here a documentation section will be used in two methods. One is, see, a document can be represented with two forward slashes. See, if you have only a single line, see, program to print addition of two integers. This is just a document or a sentence which should be treated as a document by the C compiler. So I kept that in a two forward slashes at the starting. Or else if you have more than one number of lines in the document, then see here we have another format which represents another format, that program to print addition of two integers written by Rajesh, CSE department, A section, and good morning. See, here at the starting we have a forward slash followed by an asterisk symbol, and at the end it is mandatory it should end with asterisk followed by a forward slash. In this case, a documentation section should not include in the execution process of a C program. See, based upon your document line, we can go ahead with documentation. So by these two methods we can represent the documentation section which does not include in the execution process of a C program. Now let us go with another section. See, coming to the link section. See, after the documentation section it was followed by a link section. What is meant by the link section? See, in C programming, in order to perform any operation we have to use functions. What is a function? A function is a part of a program which is used to perform the specific task. See, coming to the C programming language, it contains a huge number of functions like predefined functions, user defined functions and so on. See, here whatever the work or whatever the task we have to do by using the program, we have to use some functions. Now where these functions are located? These functions are located in header files. Where these header files are located? These header files are located in C library. So whatever the functions you are going to use in your program, those functions are located in some header files. See how those header files will look like. See, for example, link section. For example, I have a header file hash include stdio.h. What it means? See here, when you go for this hash include stdio.h, here it is going to represent a file stdio.h. It means that standard input and output. Means the functions which are used for taking the input from the standard input or producing the output to the standard output device. The functions like printf and scanf. The functions printf and scanf will be treated as a standard input and output functions. These functions are located in the header file hash include stdio.h. Same like that. We have a header file hash include conio.h. We call it as console input and output. It contains the header files like CLR, SCR, getch. These are the functions located in the header file console input and output.h. So like this, in order to perform any operation in C programming, definitely we have to use some functions. Those functions are located in the header files like this. What is meant by this hash include? See here, this hash include is a preprocessor directive known as include. It is going to include the functions which are located in this particular header file stdio.h into your program. See here, the concept is representing here is link section. So whatever the functions I am going to use in my program, definitely those functions like printf, scanf, getch or maybe a CLR, SCR, every function have to include in your program. So because of the case, definitely we have to link those functions in your program. So for that purpose, the format is like this: hash include stdio.h, hash include connect. Like that, we have many number of header files. So now this is about the link section. Let us go with another section of a C program. See, and another one is a definition section. What is meant by the definition section? See here, we are going to define a macro. Here we are going to define one macro. We can also say that we are going to define one constant value which we cannot change until to the execution of a program. Let us see how it will be. See how the definition section will be. Hash define. See, have to include the header file stdio.h or a conio.h like this. In order to include the header file, we are going to use the preprocessor directive hash include. Same like that, here we are going to use another preprocessor directive hash define. See what is going to do. Here it is a hash define. This hash define is going to define with a value. See, I define like 100 with a name macro, with a name max. Here, throughout the program, wherever you are going to use the max, it is going to be taken as a value 100. See, this is a fixed one until to the execution of the program. Same like that, we can also define many things, not only the values, we can also define the words also. See, here I am going to define a printf statement. Normally we can write like printf. In the name of this printf, we can also write p. Wherever you are going to use the program, see like this. For example, in my program I am going to take like printf hello. This is general. In the place of this one, when you define like this, like a printf, this p is going to work. How it will be like p welcome. So now this is going to work like a printf. Why? Because I define here p as a printf. So now this is about the definition section. Now coming to this, we completed so far about a documentation section, next link section and a definition section. Now we are going to discuss about global declaration. What is meant by declaration? In our program, what we are going to use as an input data, those should be declared. So we have two different types of declaration. See here we have one declaration part excuse me, and another one is global declaration. See what is meant by global declaration? See, when you go for a concept of a declaration, we have two methods. One is local declaration and global declaration. When you go for the global declaration, the variable what you declared globally, that variable can be used throughout the program. But when you declare a variable within a main section, that will be treated as a local variable. So such variable can be treated as a local variable which can be used only in that particular block only. So here now the concept is global declaration. Already we know that how to declare a variable. According to the syntactical rules, the declaration syntax is data type space. See here, declaration, data type space variable name. See, this is about the declaration. If you go for the initialization, data type space variable name equals to 15. See, the declaration process is same if it is a global declaration or it is a local declaration, but the place where we are going to declare that variable is important. See here, when you go for the syntactical rules, if you declare a variable before the main section, those variables are called as global variables. Those variables have an access of throughout the program, but if a variable is declared within the main section, such variables can be used within that particular block. So now, coming to the main section. See, main section, here we call it as a main function section. Why? Because whenever a word or a keyword, everything, if it is represented with a parenthesis open and parenthesis close, now the C compiler will treat that as a function. In C programming, a function must and should return a value. Because of the case, a main section also having open parenthesis and close parenthesis. Because of that case, the C compiler will treat that a main function is also as a function. So what we have to do, definitely we have to give a main function with a return statement. See here, coming to this main section. Main, parenthesis open, parenthesis close. But why I gave here a void? Why? Because here I kept like open parenthesis and close parenthesis. So the C compiler will treat that a main section as a function. So a function should return a value. Because of that case, I mentioned clearly before the main section, I gave as void. If you take a void is nothing but a null data type. It means that you are representing that main section is not going to return any value, or no, main section is going to represent a null value. So see here, main, the same thing. If you want to mention like the main function is going to return an integer type of a value. In this case, see, we'll take like int main. If you go for like this, you people are mentioning clearly here, this main function is going to return integer type of a value. In this case, we have to mention here a return statement, any integer type of a value. Why? Because here you mention the main section as int space main. It means that this main function is going to return integer type of a value. So because of the case, before going to close the main section, we are going to represent that return space one integer value. And if you go for a void main, it is going to represent main function is going to return null value. So no need to mention any return value. See, after the main section, within the main section I have declaration part and executable part. What this declaration part contains, whatever the data, whatever the variables we are going to use in our program, those variables should be declared first. If we didn't declare those variables cannot be used in our program. So first we have to declare in the declaration part. After that declaration part, we'll go for the executable process. Means the program logic should be there. So whatever the variables you are going to use in your program should be declared first, and the program what you are going to execute, such program logic should be there within the main section. Now this is about the normal program logic which represents C program. See, documentation section, link section, definition section, global declaration section and main function section. Now what is about this subprogram section? This subprogram section is representing that modular programming. When you people are going to work with a functions concept of user defined, definitely your program is going to divide it into many number of modules. In that case, your program is going to divide it into many number of parts. In that case, we are going to represent your program into many number of parts. Because of that case, function programming is called as a modular programming. So this is all about structure of a C program. If you didn't follow this structure of a C program, definitely the C compiler cannot accept such program. That's it.